Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:06, O'Connor and Company, a busy and historic Thursday morning in your nation's capital. Trump said, get me my big, beautiful bill on my desk before July 4th, and it looks like Mike Johnson is going to deliver and pull that rabbit out of his hat one more time. Extraordinary. You know, say what you will about Nancy Pelosi. She had like 50 seats to work with in her
That's
majority.
right.
Johnson.
Whew.
Johnson's getting it done. 8:05, Keith
man.
McFarland will join us. And at 8:35, an unsung hero in this entire escapade to reduce our taxes to historic levels, Chairman Jason Smith of the Ways and Means Committee, the great state of Missouri. He'll be joining us, hopefully, to do a victory lap as we is Hakeem Jeffries still speaking? Can we get a visual there on the House of Representatives? Do we need to call in
Good
EMTs?
God.
Seriously? So he's going on 2 hours now, almost.
Yeah, he's giving his recipe for chicken Kiev.
He's trying to do a Cory Booker. It's amazing. Oh. All right. Well, we'll have a vote. We just heard from Andy Harris of Maryland. He said, yeah, it's going to get done. Might get messy, might get dirty, might get ugly, but it's going to get done. Not as ugly as a man pretending to be a woman swimming in a college championship tournament.
A nice transition.
Though.
Well done.
That's ugly, but all is being corrected. The world is healing. Paula Scanlan joins us now. Our listeners know her as an activist and an outspoken critic of the transgender policies that the NCAA embraced, best personified by her swim team at the University of Pennsylvania. And Paula Scanlan, I guess it's fair to say here on July 3rd of 2025 that you got what you voted for.
Definitely is. Good morning to you guys. Thank you for having me on as always. And absolutely correct. I mean, this University of Pennsylvania situation, I was honestly shocked when I heard the news. I really thought that they were going to double down. I mean, we've seen Harvard, not on this issue, but others, double down as well. And it's something that surprised me, but I will say it's a great first step. I'm really excited about the news, and I'm grateful to the Trump administration for, again, taking this so seriously and getting this done.
So you're going to get this apology from them. Have you gotten it yet, by the way?
No, I haven't, but I'm very curious what type of apology this is going to be. So I'll keep you guys posted for sure.
Paula, I when I first heard about this, I said, I wonder if it's going to be like my husband apologizes, where it's like, I'm really sorry my totally reasonable actions upset you. You know? Right.
I'm sorry that you got upset about this.
Yes, I'm sorry you got upset about this.
Exactly. There's two ways, right? It's they're going to say, I'm sorry that you felt that. I'm sorry that you didn't like it.
Yes.
Or, you know, the route that I want, obviously, that I'm sorry we genuinely caused you harm in our actions.
Yes.
We're sorry you're such an intolerant bigot. So Paula Scanlan is our guest, and we're laughing about it now, but this truly had to have been traumatic for you, and I mean your teammates as well. I know you often said that you're speaking out, but there are plenty who stayed silent because they were afraid. They continued to sort of be tormented and intimidated by this whole thing. Do you think now that this has been corrected, the policy has changed, Leah Thomas's name removed from the record books, that you're not going to be alone? Do you think that you will have some teammates, or do you think they just want this all to go away?
Yeah, I think many people have wanted this to go away. I really think they probably saw the news and probably were excited and you know, grateful for it. But beyond that, I think many are just, you know, not interested in taking any risks, not interested in ever saying or doing anything else about it. And, you know, at this point in time, I mean, it's been 4 years since he first started competing. I mean, this is not just like this happened yesterday. It's been years. In fact, anyone who dealt with it on the team has actually now graduated. The freshmen who were freshmen when this happened on the season have now graduated from college. So quite literally every person who was personally affected by this isn't even in college anymore.
Wow.
Paula, it has been a long road for you, and I know that there are still battles ahead. Do you plan to sort of stay as an activist and continue to advocate for women's spaces in women's sports?
Hold on. The girl's got an engineering degree from an Ivy League school. And you want her to stay in politics?
Well, I'm just saying she might want to build.
I get into dad mode here.
Look,
I'm sorry.
I'm just asking because you have so many options, Paula.
It's true. It's true.
Obviously. But this isn't over. But, we talk about how people just want this to go away. There's got to be a part of you that wants it to go away, right? Like you didn't, I suspect this wasn't your plan to become this, and you are a very effective activist. What do you plan to do? Do you plan to continue in this role?
I'm always going to continue to advocate for female athletes. That's not something I ever would stop. But we have to keep keeping track about this. People still need to talk about this issue. I mean, this is by no means is over. I really believe this is only the first step. I want the girls at other Ivy League schools to receive apologies. I mean, even just looking at Harvard, right? The girls at Harvard were sent threatening letters. I mean, sure, they didn't have to undress with Leah Thomas in the locker room every single day, week in and week out. They still had to at times when we competed against them, and the university still shut them down. So there's still a lot left to be done here. But there's always so many projects I'm taking on. There's many things I'm up to at all times, and I certainly am not going to let this one go just because I might have gotten a solution at my school. There's many other girls that still have apologies left to be given to them and wrongs to be fixed.
What do you say to people who are cynical about this? So they say, oh, listen, Penn just did this because they don't want to lose their federal funding. Their heart's not in it. They don't care. They're just saying what they have to say to please Trump, which may be true, but does that make a difference? Does that bother you?
I'm, of course, cynical of it. I mentioned to many people at this point that, yeah, of course, we should look at the fact that Trump threatened to pull their federal funding. That's obviously a big motivator here, but this is an amazing first step and a historic one, really, because we've never seen one of these universities come and want to claw back their actions, right? That's very unusual. We've never seen anything like this, and I think even if it's a weak apology, this entire situation, my takeaway from this is the University of Pennsylvania in some way acknowledges they were wrong, even if my apology ends up being incorrect or whatever. But all this, even the email that they sent that was full of legal speak, they just sent it to the Penn community saying, there's this situation we wanted to fill you in on. Yeah. It makes them look bad. And I think that's the first start. And I think that there's a lot more to come. And I truly believe that this is the first step to making change in this country on this issue.
Well, and the fact is, sadly, so much of this is handled through the executive branch that means one presidential election from now, all of this could go back to where it was. Or do you think that the ship has sort of turned on this? Do you think that we'll never go back? That people are so emboldened and actually, sort of have the confidence and they're not bullied and intimidated anymore?
I hope so. We can only see what happens, but I really believe that this issue isn't even about left versus right. It should transcend who's president. I mean, even 67% of Democrats agree that this issue is wrong. I mean, I've received messages from people I know personally voted for Kamala Harris, and have congratulated me on what we accomplished this week in D.C. So it's they have to match their voter base, and really I believe the majority of Democrats, obviously the majority of Republicans, are not with them on this issue. And we have to hope that, again, people just stay strong to this. And I think so many people are active and talking about this. I don't see them trying to revert this, frankly.
Hey, Paula Scanlan, congratulations. You won.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. I mean, one of my friends who, has followed me along on this journey, obviously didn't experience what I did, had just said, Paul, this feels like you're, winning your court case, and I feel like I need to tune in to the outcome of your court case. And I was like, it's a really interesting way to think about it, but in a lot of ways, it does feel that way because we've put in so much work over so many years with, little to no resolution, and now it just, quite literally on a random Tuesday, we're getting what we wanted.
Now what? Well, you know what? Something tells me that you're going to have an extra special Independence Day tomorrow as you reflect on what can be done in this country with people power. I always get, as this story unfolded this week, Paula, I just went back to that day in May last year when Julie and I were with you and so many other brave female athletes in Scranton, Pennsylvania on that little bus tour that you started. And what an impact that made. That bus tour really did change the conversation in the presidential election.
Absolutely, and it was something I was so grateful to be part of. I mean, the coalition that really put that together, it just, I don't know what other issue could get all those different people together on one bus. It exactly shows the strength of this issue, and a lot of people wanted us to believe that this issue was separating people and making people lose friends and isolating people. While that is true at times, I really believed it was a unifying issue, and it really brought me, again, together with so many people from so many different backgrounds and beliefs that all came together on sharing the common goal of, men shouldn't play women's sports.
All right, well, go back to X platform and start ticking off all the right people, okay? I like that about you, too. You love sort of poking at people and bringing out the worst in them, so keep that up. Enjoy yourself.
Always.
Thank you. Happy Independence Day to you and
Thank
your
you
family.
guys so much.
It's 7:16.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
We brought to your attention several days ago that Abigail Spanberger had been stopped by a tracker on a campaign trail and asked about sanctuary policies, and she revealed that she 100% supports. She would be Gavin Newsom to Virginia.
100%.
100%. She does not want any local
Virginia.
law enforcement to cooperate with ICE.
Right.
So she'd be right out there rioting in the streets and burning cars down like we saw in Los Angeles. That's what she would do if she were governor. It took several days, but I got to give credit where it's due because I've been a little bit critical of the Winsome Sears campaign so far. They have an ad, finally, going after Abigail Spanberger on this issue. Take a listen.
Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin issuing a new executive order directing state police to help with U.S. immigration and customs enforcements.
One of the top leaders of the notorious gang, MS-13, has been captured in Virginia.
The use of local police and state police, it's actually a distraction of resources, both in terms of personnel hours and money.
500 arrests have been made since the creation of the Virginia Homeland Security Task Force.
It's actually a distraction of resources from actually keeping our communities safe.
Of the 521 arrested since February, 132 people are affiliated with gangs such as MS-13, Trendua Awagwa, and other transnational criminal gangs.
That's right. The message is clear. Abigail Spanberger would rather have those criminals walking the streets and preying on innocent Virginians than cooperate with the Trump administration on enforcing the law. Good for the Sears campaign. A very effective ad, I think.
These sanctuary cities are absolutely magnets for MS-13 and other gangs, Venezuelan gang. We know that they are present here in Alexandria, Virginia, and in Arlington, Falls Church, you name it, all the Northern Virginia. It's the same leftist Northern Virginia officials who closed the schools, who kept the kids masked. I mean, it's the same playbook every single time, and they deny. And I mean, here in Alexandria, you can walk in some city parks, and there are MS-13 sort of markings on have been markings on mailboxes. They are sort of carving out their territory. It is terrifying. If Abigail Spanberger is elected, this will continue. It will get worse. There is no safety under Abigail Spanberger. It is terrifying.
Yeah, you want to reach some of those suburban moms, you explain to them exactly how bad crime is going to get for their children if Abigail Spanberger is elected, and that wins. And that'll win in Loudoun, it'll win in Fairfax, it'll win in Prince William County. So I'm glad they put this ad out because as the story was developing over the last several weeks, you turn to this Sears campaign and they're like talking about the car tax. And and I understand the car tax is a big issue, but this is a bigger issue, crime and safety. The
other thing is it's all under this sort of idea that she is sympathetic to illegal aliens, that everyone's welcome, everybody, we welcome all of these people trying to get a better life. There are actually illegal aliens who come into our cities who are law-abiding and who are good people and who do want a better life. And they also do not want to live among MS-13 and Venezuelan gangs. And let me tell you, there is recruitment in the schools, in these Northern Virginia high schools and middle schools. The gangs recruit in these schools. You think those mothers want that?
I know. And I don't know what Winsome Sears is afraid of. Are they going to say that she's anti-immigrant? She's an immigrant, for God's sake. She has the moral high ground on this. Right. She can say, I'm all for immigration. My family are immigrants. These are people who are in the country illegally, and they're committing horrible, violent crimes, and Abigail Spanberger is trying to protect them. I got to say, I really want Winsome Sears to win this election. And, we joke with Governor Youngkin, we come in and I say, I'm the ambassador of the wine country. You won. You owe me something, right? Because, do you know why? You know how that all came about? Because he was on this show weekly. I mean, he was like a co-host on this show.
I know.
He was on all the time, delivering his message, making sure that he could go over the heads of the Washington Post and the local news stations and all the paid advertising. The ads are ridiculous, the money they spend. Go directly to the voters and let them know that I'm your guy, and if you vote for me, I'm going to get it done. And that's why after the election, I could joke with the man and say, well, I feel like you owe me. Make me your ambassador. Because it was a joke because he was on the show so much. I got to tell you, and I'll go ahead and say it. Maybe I'm not supposed to. We've been trying to get Winsome Sears on this show for months, Julie.
Wow.
For months.
Are you serious?
And we don't hear anything back. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's her comms department. I don't know if she thinks, well, those are WMAL listeners. They're already going to vote for me. I don't know what it is, and it's not for me to decide. I can just tell you.
Our listeners are not stupid.
The last time a Republican won governor in Virginia, he was on this show all the time. I mean, we had to actually say, Governor, let's take a break today. We'll have you back on tomorrow.
This whole thing of like, the WMAL listeners will support me anyway. They're not stupid.
That's not how it works.
And we have the smartest listeners out there. You've got to talk to them.
Mr. Reed has been on the show. Mr. Miaris has been on the show. We have what we would love for Mrs. Sears to come on the show. And I think that will help her win. And we would love for that to happen. It's 7:23.
Making sense of your world.
There are a lot of things that really tick me off.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Coming up, we will talk to Congressman Mike Haridopoulos. He's going to give us an update on what's going on the House floor and any gossip and fun stuff about what's happening with the big, beautiful bill. Keep it here. It's 7:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:36 now on O'Connor and Company. This historic morning in your nation's capital. As soon as Hakeem Jeffries is done talking, we're going to get to a vote here, and you're going to get your tax cut that was promised to you. This is, honestly, for all of you, and I know a lot of conservatives are concerned about this bill, and there's too much in it, and it's full of increased debt and the debt ceiling and da-da-da, and I get it. But here's the thing. All you need to look at is the reaction from the Democrats and CNN and the media and the lies. And Hakeem Jeffries talking for I think 3 hours now. They hate it so much it's got to be good. And soon we will have that bill. It's Larry O'Connor here. Julie Gunlock, the Mother Teresa of talk radio in your nation's capital. And can we just dip in real fast? Can we take a listen to Hakeem Jeffries here? What's he saying now as he continues?
Others have noted that because of Donald Trump's one big ugly bill, the insolvency of Social Security and Medicare could be accelerated.
Could be.
This is
people will die. People will die.
There you go. That's all they got.
I want to remind you all, every single one of these Democrats said the border could not be secured unless they passed their little amnesty bill, and that was a lie. They all told you in 2017. This makes permanent the Trump tax cuts of 2017. Every single thing they're saying right now about this bill is exactly what they said in 2017 on those tax cuts, and it exploded the economy.
I thought we all died from net neutrality.
Thank you. Yes, there's no one left to kill. Net neutrality killed them. Thank you, Ajit Pai. Let's bring in our congressman who's sitting there. He's probably I don't know. Where are you, Congressman Haridopoulos? Are you in your office sort of trying to catch some snooze?
I'm actually right outside the House chamber, outside looking at the Washington Monument. It is morning in America.
Aww.
It is morning in America, Congressman. This is Mike Haridopoulos, House Finance Committee, Florida 8. And you get what I'm saying here. I mean, there is much. I'm sure you have things that you would like to criticize about this bill. That's the point of big reconciliation packages like this. But the fact that Democrats are going so nuts about it, actually, I think that's a signal. It's a tell that this is going to be a great thing.
Well, Larry, you and Julie are spot on. You can see the gnashing of teeth going on right now on the House floor. And the rhetoric. And I can't wait till Mike Johnson responds to all the hyperbole from Leader Jeffries and say all the people you talked about at Medicaid, keep their Medicaid if they're developmentally disabled or they're in a nursing home or if they're a child of low-income parents or you're a pregnant woman. This is all hyperbole designed for election. I'll tell you what, a year from now, we're all going to show them that they were not telling the truth. And more importantly, our economy is going to be in full bloom.
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, Congressman, it is cruelty. It is absolutely cruel to tell the parents of disabled children or the disabled themselves or people who are, really need a safety net temporarily or for some time in order to get their lives straightened out, to tell them that you're going to lose your benefits, you're going to lose the help that you need and not get the medical treatment that you need. It's incredibly cruel. It's really amazing to watch the sort of moral emptiness of some of the Democrats who are pushing this message.
Sadly, you're correct, Julie. It's really frustrating to listen to the lies. And I had to look a lot of people in the eyes and said, look, I'm not going to take away these programs from your autistic child or your child who has Down syndrome. We're a compassionate society. And the rhetoric and the half-truths that they say are just frustrating. Now they're saying we're cutting Social Security and Medicare. You can't believe the stuff they're talking about on the floor right now. And all of us are looking at each other like, I must have missed this part of the bill because he's just going off the old playbook from 1995. It's embarrassing to watch.
Well, they're concerned because this is going to validate. Listen, these are all of President Trump's promises on the campaign trail with regard to taxes wrapped up into one beautiful package out of the Ways and Means Committee. It's going to get done, and they're terrified that by going through with his promises and committing to them and getting it done, the economy is going to explode. Everyone's going to have more money in their pocket. It'll prove that they've been, wrong and lying this whole time. Could I, since you're on the Finance Committee, though, I would love for you to explore something that doesn't get enough attention beyond the tax cuts and all the other stuff. And that has to do with the ability to expense capital investment in your businesses. I know that's not sexy. It doesn't make it. Can you? And I may have even described it incorrectly here, but I'm told by economists and by people in the banking industry that this could single-handedly be the thing that explodes our economy with jobs and capital investment here at home.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's not as sexy as a tax cut, sure, but it is where businesses are. They have their money on the sidelines right now because they're not sure what the tax rate will be when they go buy that large item. It could be a machine, it could be a truck, it could be buying a new piece of equipment that's vital to their company, but they want to be able to write it off quickly. This bill allows them to do that. And when they do that, those workers who made that product are going to keep their job. And it really gets the economy humming. And we want to become that manufacturing hub once again. We're not as reliant on some of these soft services, as they call them. America builds things. And this kind of bill accelerates that action because people want to invest in America because they see the socialism creeping in Europe. They see the threat of China. They want to bring these jobs back to America. And by offering these types of tax incentives, we're going to do just that.
Creeping in Europe, it's creeping in Manhattan, but that's another
no
story.
kidding.
Go ahead, Julie.
Congressman, what is the feeling give us this sort of sense. What's it like on the floor right now? How are Republicans feeling? Obviously, Elon Musk is threatening to fund any primaries, any Republican who votes for this. How are people feeling about this bill?
Well, what's really important is the president has really helped us stay focused on the mission. And what I find so refreshing, I left politics on my own 12 years ago. I was ready to get back in the private sector, but Donald Trump brought me back into politics. He's a can-do guy, and yeah, it's like Godfather 3, right? So the idea is the sense that this is a can-do guy. And isn't it refreshing that you have politicians talk about during the election time and then back it up in office?
Yeah.
And not just on the economy or our bills, but he has changed the face of the world in the Middle East. I mean, in my entire life, since 1979, Iran has been a threat. We've exposed them for who they are, and now we have stability in the Middle East. We're less reliant on Middle East oil because of the shale programs. It's a radical change for the positive, and we're excited. And we're a little, it's a little frustrating watching Hakeem do his thing for a few hours, but after this is over, there's going to be a rightful celebration tomorrow night with fireworks that America is back.
He's just trying to impress Joe and Mika, which, by the way, it's a low bar bar, let's face it, but that's what this is about. We're speaking with Representative Mike Haridopoulos of Florida, who, by the way, looks like one of the lost members of the Beach Boys.
No kidding.
Florida's treating you right there, sir. Real fast and seriously, because a lot of our listeners and a lot of my friends and colleagues in the conservative commentariat, We've been talking about debt and deficits forever. That's something that Republicans are supposed to stand for. And I know that a reconciliation package is not the ideal place to fix problems that are inherent to the system and inherent to the problems with our federal government spending. But how quickly can you get to that? How realistic is it that those things will be fixed? Everyone gets their tax cut, and now starting, July 7th, we'll get to the business of the Appropriations Committee and actually fix some of the underlying issues here with regard to our debt and deficits?
I think that's essential. When I used to lead the state of Florida in the Senate, we believe in balanced budgets. And when we had a shortfall, we just cut spending. We didn't increase taxes, and that's what works. I mean, Ronald Reagan proved it. Heck, John F. Kennedy proved it, that when you grow the economy, everyone benefits. And remember the CBO number that everyone's dancing about? They're saying we're only getting about 1.8%. That's radically off, and it's one of the reasons why I call the CBO CBS, because they've never been right about the Trump tax cuts. Remember, they're $1.5 trillion with a T, trillion dollars off on the revenues that will be created by the 2017 tax cuts. And what's important about passing them now as opposed to December, which they did back in 2017, we're going to have a full 18 months to show this economy taking off and show that we did not abandon people who needed Medicaid. And we're going to have a big win in 2026 because we're proving that with the trifecta, Republicans can govern, and we're going to grow this economy because that's how we balance the budget. We're not going to raise taxes to balance the budget. We're going to grow this economy, and everybody wins because more people are working and fewer people are on welfare.
All right. And have you done your head count? Do you have the votes? How close is it going to be? One vote margin?
We're going to win. And I'll tell you one guy who's been underestimated from day one is Mike Johnson. Give this guy amazing credit. He's a wonderful listener. He is a leader, and I couldn't be happier serving with him in the United States Congress. He has been masterful working with our president to get this thing done and back up the campaign promises we made last November.
Well, he and his staff are also listeners to this program, so I'm sure you'll get a thank you for those kind words as well, Congressman.
All right, get to work. He's a good man, and he is the same person you see on TV behind the scenes. That's a sign of a good leader.
All right, get to work there, Congressman. You got a vote to cast, and then you can watch those fireworks. Enjoy. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks, Julie. Have a great day.
WMAL's Vince Coglianese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Well, Diddy, it appears, is going to skate. He's going to slide by. He's going to slip through prosecution's hands like they were covered in baby oil. Diddy was found guilty of just 2 of the counts against him, transportation to engage in prostitution, the lower of all of the charges, not guilty on racketeering, conspiracy, not guilty on sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, not guilty on another count of that. This is after the prosecution had already dropped some of the other charges before it even was handed off to the jury. The New York Post, once again, with the headline, Diddy gets off, which I think might,
Yeah, I get that. This is disappointing, very disappointing. There is video of him beating to a pulp one of his girlfriends and dragging her by her hair down a hallway.
Yeah, but that wasn't part of this case.
I know it wasn't part of his case. I'm just talking about him being a bad guy.
Yeah,
the bad guy.
Person.
And there was a lot of evidence on this too. And basically, the jury believed that these were all prostitutes and they were all willing to be beaten and drugged and allegedly raped. I find it really disappointing. I think he's a disgusting human being.
Yeah,
and his family acted like celebrities, walking into that courtroom every day, signing autographs, taking selfies.
I'll tell you, you're right. 1,000% right. And I say nothing in his defense at all. I mean, he seems like a scumbag and typical rich, entitled, billionaire who thinks he can get away with anything. And but I got to say, though, this is another commentary on federal prosecutors. The prosecutor in this case, by the way, James Comey's daughter.
That's right.
They overreach with charges.
Yeah.
They try these things in the media.
Yeah.
They go overboard with it. And it's another reason why the American people don't have faith in the Justice Department and the ability of prosecutors to, because they bring up charges like this and we think, okay, is that real though? Or are you just overstating the case? Are you overcharging? Are you throwing the book at somebody? Are you playing publicity with this? And, you know, you got to do your job well, and you got to do it professionally and responsibly and not do it in the media like this one was done. And I don't know, they focus on high-profile wins instead of actually going after criminals.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He's still a pig.
Agreed. I mean, I think I prefaced it enough.
No, I get it. I
re-emphasizing
understand
that.
what you're saying. Yes.
7:54.